Today we're joined by Bridgid Coulter, who is the founder of Blackbird House, a co-working space for women of color and their allies. Bridgid, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
So tell us the story of what is Blackbird House and how did you come up with this idea?
Absolutely. Blackbird House is a co-working space. It's a collective for productivity, wellness, and community. And it is focused on women of color, issues of diversity and inclusion, but it's also welcome to allies because I believe we have to do this together.
Yes, absolutely. So guys are welcome here.
Absolutely.
Officially welcome here.
Any guy who wants to come to Blackbird and be a part of this movement, we are with you. Come on down.
I love it. And so it's here in Culver City, Los Angeles area. So how long did it take you to actually create Blackbird from when you had the idea?
So I kind of came up with the idea last spring. I was working from different co-working spaces. I've been very familiar with this industry for quite a while. It started, as you know, like with Regis back in the day.
Yeah,
with
old
executive
school.
office with the brown furniture.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell you something funny. I actually rented one of those spaces back in my early, I'm a serial entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So in my early days, I got one, and your amenities were, we have a secretary who answers the phone, and they said secretary. And,
I think they still say that.
Oh, they do? Okay, got it. It was just kind of funny to hear it now.
Right.
So I had that brown office with the brown furniture, and I think I kept it a month.
Yeah.
But the great thing that I always remembered from that experience was just having that, just a little bit of service and not having all the responsibilities of having a space. There was some convenience to it even at that time.
Yeah, you can come and go without having to be the office manager and the person setting up Wi-Fi and also get the community for sure.
Yeah, so in this time I was actually searching for an office for my design studio, and I learned that it had changed. The amount of amenities in a co-working space are incredible, and spaces are out there killing it. There's really beautiful spaces, and there were a lot of things that they offered, but I did find a lack of diversity, and I was welcome, and there was a sense of diversity, but I really had this concept of, what if the tables were turned? What if the matrix was that it's majority diversity driven issues, there's work going on, women of color are killing it across the nation and across the globe. What if we focused and really saw that as our core concern, and really focused on those issues of diversity and inclusion? What would that look like?
Absolutely. I also feel like what you're saying is like making it the forefront versus sort of this add-on to what they're building, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's often a side dish, which is really lovely to be included and thought of, and it actually makes sense. If you have this, definitely if your membership is this really wide range of people, there are a lot of things you have to do, but if we can focus on this niche of women of color, issues of diversity, talking about inclusion, talking about allies, and how to be an ally, and what we can learn from allies and what allies can learn from us, and really create this. I think it's a time in our country that we really need unity and togetherness, and I think part of the things that make us great are our diversity, so
100%.
keeping that focus.
So from the career perspective, what would you say are some of the benefits to joining a co-working space if someone's like, well, I could, work from home, or I could go to a co-work space? Like, how is this going to help them?
Yeah, that's a great question. So there's a lot of intangible benefits to co-working spaces that are sometimes hard to put your finger on, but I have, from doing this experience of meeting and talking to a lot of people, and personally my experience of working in a co-working space is being in a room around strivers, people who are entrepreneurs, creatives, people working and doing their thing in such a cool way is inspiring to you, even if you don't talk to them, which you should talk to people. But even if you're doing your own thing and you're working, there is just this energy and excitement about people creating things.
Absolutely. I think the energy is really the key. Like, it's really hard to energize yourself every day when you're working from home or working, even like changing your office space. If you work for a company, joining a co-work space because you guys have events at night as well, right? So you can come here for the programming. And I always feel like that really jazzes you up and helps you take that creativity maybe back to your day job too, right?
Absolutely. No, that's a great point. And with our programming and a lot of the spaces, the programming gives you opportunities to network with your community.
Yeah.
And then we also, because wellness is a big pillar of ours, we have classes. So in the middle of your day, instead of trying to drive 30 minutes to the gym and then, you know, changing and doing, you actually can do classes from here, and you have meditation, yoga, strength training, but incorporating different amenities and different things that you can have access to, bringing in VCs and just the network. The network is the biggest opportunity from a co-working space, and utilizing that is sometimes difficult if you're shy.
Absolutely,
but it is one
or finding it, just having access to some of those things. It's like you wouldn't have access to that.
No, and you wouldn't find people in your industry or in different industries that you can work together.
Yeah.
And as a company, I've had people want to hire my design team and go, oh, well, we love what you did with your space. What are you up to? And even if it wasn't necessarily the right fit, you were definitely starting these relationships. And I have relationships just from my time in working with co-working spaces that are really wonderful and inspiring.
I agree.
Learn a lot from different people.
Yeah, I love that. And what about, like, what project are you really excited about right now that you're working on? Besides opening the space, of course.
Well, there's nothing more exciting than opening Blackbird right now, which is bridging my design talents and experience with this hospitality. And I think what is my most exciting? There's so many. Oh my gosh. So,
what about any big events that you guys have coming up here?
Yeah, we have a grand opening.
Oh, wow.
And look, I would say that's exciting, but if you've done events, it's like a ton of, but what's exciting is bringing the communities together. We're doing a wellness day in November, and I love these because we're putting together sound baths and massage.
You can tell a woman came up with this concept.
Oh my gosh, it's so good. And we had one last month. I think that's one of my favorite things that we've done here. And it's just really a day where you come in, you can come in your sweatpants, and you get nourished, and you
love it.
I came into one of ours, and you know those days you're just depleted. You have those days, and you're just like, I'm too tired to come to this thing. But wellness and focusing on nutrition and all these really invigorates you, and I leave them like, oh my gosh.
And sometimes that's what you need. I was talking to a woman yesterday, and she said sometimes when you just take a step back, she calls it cocooning. She's like, I just needed a cocooning day where I just sort of, you know, flowed with the energy or what I was doing, versus being like, I'm gonna come here and I'm gonna be super productive. Sometimes you just need a wellness day.
Absolutely.
Self-care in 2020.
Self-care is so important, and having a space like Blackbird where self-care is integrated is so essential. And I'm one of the worst offenders. I'm a worker bee. I work very hard. I understand, and I know you creatives. I know you entrepreneurs. We say we want to do this thing, and we go, and we're kind of going around going, hey, it's 3:00. That's meditation hour.
Right.
Just come step aside for 20 minutes, meditate with us, and everybody can find 20 minutes.
Now there's really no excuse. It's here.
And we're in your face, friendly. We're not like, get over here and meditate. But we're in your face saying, hey, there's an opportunity to come and just pause. Stop with us for 10 minutes. Stop with us for 15. We're done in 20.
Yeah.
Just give yourself that
would
feedback.
be so great. I can't wait till you have like some sort of like research afterwards where you're like, so when people meditate for 20 minutes a day, a few times a week, like here's actually the improvement, because like we know it and everyone knows to meditate, and yet somehow it's the first thing we cross off our list, right? Is like doing any wellness related stuff. So another question we get a lot from our readers is about career transitions and how do you transition either industries or actual jobs. And I think co-working spaces are actually a great place to kind of maybe start that journey. So can you talk a little bit about, you know, career transitions and advice for someone who might be thinking, I want to do something different, but I don't know what I want to do?
Absolutely. I think career transitions take a lot of bravery.
Yeah.
You can be very comfortable in your position, but having faith and knowing that that little energy inside of you, that seed of I have to change, you have to trust it and you move forward and take the steps. And some simple steps when you're in a co-working space is talk to people.
Yes.
Tell them what you're doing, what you're thinking about doing, and people want to help you.
They do.
They're
they really
excited about it. And when you ask the question, and it sounds silly, but I'm super shy about sometimes asking for help for myself, and I'm excited to ask for other people.
Right.
But if you do put that little seed in someone's ear or bug in someone's ear and say, I'm kind of thinking about doing this thing and I don't know how to do it, you will get a sisterhood.
Ton of advice.
Especially here. Oh my gosh, anybody who comes in with anything, there's like a sisterhood. Girl, what you doing? Oh no, let's talk about that. Let's go. So I think, first of all, vocalizing it is very important. taking steps to find a mentor, and also mentoring a young person who's thinking, I know it sounds kind of counterintuitive, but if there's something you're thinking of doing and you have someone else who's thinking, when you mentor them, you can kind of help each other, and mentorship's important to us.
Absolutely.
So a lot of our members come in and they put their names on a list of like, this is my industry.
Oh, I love that.
And we're interested in mentoring these. We have so many mentors, and we're interested in mentoring someone in this field. We've done this for 15 years. Come ask us questions. So we're also creating a network board where you can kind of ask and offer. That's
great. And also joining a co-work space and just saying, hey, does anyone know anyone that works in XYZ industry is super easy. Anybody can do that.
Absolutely.
Well, and speaking of things that are easy but maybe nerve-wracking, what's your advice for people who are nervous networking? Like they're nervous to go up to the person in the kitchen or to the person at that table and say like, hi, I'm so-and-so, and I want to network with you.
Yeah, I think that's a great question. And it's a difficult one. It's just getting past that icebreaker.
Yeah.
And I think one thing to do is really be observant. If there's someone you've been watching and you really admire the way they do something, tell them that.
Yeah.
People don't mind hearing. Like, I notice that every time you come in, I see that you take these notes and you make this particular phone call and you always have it. And I think I'm really inspired by that.
Right.
Tell them what you're inspired by, why you want to talk to them, and what you're looking for. And I think a lot of people will be like, oh, I'm happy to have a conversation. If this is a good time, maybe not, but if you want to meet for coffee, I don't know what your breaks are, but let me know the times you have, and I'd love to sit here. You have the kitchen together. Sit here and like take 10 minutes and ask you a few questions.
I love that.
That's a really good way to just break the ice, because I think the hardest part is saying hello.
Right. The hardest part is, what am I going to say first? And then once I get going, I can do it usually. But it's like, and I think leading with like a compliment, or like, hey, I notice every time you come in here, you have this phone call and then you kind of do this. I'm just sort of wanting to learn more about what you do. And I also think co-work spaces kind of invite networking. So like if you're nervous about networking, co-work space is a great place to start, because it's basically saying people who are here have this commonality of like wanting to network too, right?
Absolutely. And we're in a time socially where we have social networks that are a little disconnected by tech. And I think the hunger and the excitement about co-working spaces is you still get to have your autonomy, but you are here physically in a space with other people. And the best thing to do is utilize that. And everyone who's coming, you want it. So think about the fact that the other person who signed up for this membership wants that too. So you're giving a gift. And someone said something really smart to me once, and I was like, I'm kind of nervous when I public speak, and I have to public speak a lot. And she said, you think about what you are doing and what you are sharing that person doesn't know and wants to know, and share it. And then once you do that, you'll see the floodgates open. And that was
that's really good advice.
And it was brilliant. And
someone who does just a little bit of public speaking.
And I had to admit to her, we had her at our space, and I had to say, like, it's very hard for me to introduce and do that. And she's like, you understand, you're sharing something that someone doesn't know. And so I'll give her credit, because it wasn't my idea. But it's something that I really recommend you take to heart, and it's something I took in and I heard it, and you can actually do it. And sometimes it's just, even if one day you can only say hello, the next day maybe you'll, and take your time. You don't have to give it all at once. And one other thing to be important of is, a lot of times entrepreneurs and people in these spaces are super busy. So be respectful of time. Plant a seed and offer a timing to meet up later.
I love that, because I do think that if you have this reaction where the person couldn't talk to you right away, maybe you're like, oh, I did something wrong. No, sometimes people you're interrupting their flow, and they just need you to come back at another time. And if you say you're going to circle back, the most important thing is that you circle back, right? And they'll probably love it. Well, these are amazing tips. Thank you so much for joining us today. Where can people find you, learn more about Blackbird, all the links?
So go to www.blackbird.house. I love the .house part. Go to www.blackbird.house, and you can go to our website. There's links there for membership. We have Instagram, the Blackbird House. We have Twitter and Facebook. And we have our locations in Culver City, off of Overland and Jefferson, and all that information is in Google Maps and all of those things. So look for us.
And they have parking, everybody, so you should definitely come here.
Yes, we do.
They have parking. They have a beautiful space. Well, thank you so much again.
Yeah, thank you very much.
So we're going to be sure to put all those links in the description below, but we want to hear from you. Have you worked out of a co-work space? Did you like it? Did you not like us? Tell us how it benefited you and your career in the comments below. If you like this video, be sure to give it a like and subscribe to our channel, because we drop videos weekly.